Breaking news. United Nations ordered the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Council tells Tinubu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful people, and welcome to Expose News TV, your one and only YouTube platform. Once again, welcome you to another edition of News Roundup in Biafran land today. Do not forget to share these news and information to every group, every platform, so that our brothers and our sisters, both living here and those in diaspora, can know what is actually happening in Biafran territory. So without wasting much of your time, also share this video to every WhatsApp channel, every WhatsApp group that you are on, so that they will also get the information as we continue to solicit for more support and encouragement on our channel. All you have to do is to send us a super chat, super sticker, and super thanks. The news in detail. Otti, the special counsel to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has urged President B.L.A. Tinubu to implement the order of the United Nations Human Rights Council working group to release the indigenous people of Biafran leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Otti said the president should not follow in the footsteps of his predecessor, the former president Muhammadu Buhari, who ignored the United Nations order to release Kanu. The indigenous people of Biafran leaders, lawyer, stated this in a statement issued on Saturday. Nnamdi Kanu has been in the custody of the Department of State Services since June 2021, as we all know. In July 2022, the UNHRC, through a landmark opinion issued by its working group, directed Buhari's administration to free Kanu. The group also asked that the ex-president should accord him a pathway to compensation for Kanu's arrest and rendition from Kenya to Nigeria. Referring to the order on Kanu's freedom, Otti said the federal government was bound by the directives and order from international laws and treaties because of the country's membership. Otti said Nigeria is duty-bound to implement this decision in its black letters and spirit, and it was expected to do so promptly. Nonetheless, it is never too late to act, even as Nnamdi Kanu has, for 3.5 years, endured the horrendous rigors of a detention that is bereft of any legal justification. The lawyer also called on Tinubu to free Kanu, saying the president did not need any court order to let the indigenous people of Biafran leader regain his freedom. And that is that on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. We have actually, been talking about Nnamdi Kanu for the past, 2 years. And honestly, it is totally painful and it is sad that a prisoner of conscience and the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra is still under custody. But on the other note, at least somebody has actually rose up, in order to carry on the mantle of leadership from Nnamdi Kanu, pending when he comes back. The reality is that the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa Joko has actually done a great thing, giving the Nigerian government woto and making sure that he does everything possible to destabilize the Zoological Republic of Nigeria in his quest to get freedom of Biafra and also freedom of Nnamdi Kanu. Despite all said and done, despite what people have been saying on the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, he has remained resolute and he has remained focused, making sure that he does the needful in the freedom of Biafra. On other news today on News Roundup, government launched attack on military checkpoint, issues direct threats to Governor Otti's administration in Abia State. Whether you feel that they are issuing threat or not, the reality is that their stance has actually been clear, and we are about to give the news. Let us hear what the government said before launching the attack. The news in detail. Government launched an assault on a military checkpoint in Abia State on the morning of November 13th, heightening security concerns in the region. The attack, which took place in Umuopara, a Kenobizi area of Umuahia South Local Government Area, brought intense gunfire to the checkpoint position near Onuimo, the boundary between Abia State and Imo State. Eyewitnesses reported seeing the assailant dressed entirely in black, advancing on the checkpoint, firing sporadically in a chilling warning captured on video. One of the gunmen was heard issuing direct threat against Governor Alex Chioma Otti, demanding the dismantling of military checkpoints in the area and declaring intentions to remove his administration if their orders were ignored. The government's message records in part warned, "Today is the 13th of November 2024. Alex, we are dismantling this checkpoint and we are giving you a direct order to come close. If we see this nonsense again, you are gone, Alex." This is not the first time that checkpoints in Abia have come under attack. Just last week, military personnel from Goodluck Ebele Jonathan Barracks in Ohafia foiled an attempted strike by gunmen targeting police and military checkpoints in the region. The recent attack underscores escalating tension and the volatile security situation in Abia and surrounding areas. In light of this event, local authorities are under pressure to address security vulnerabilities and protect both citizens and government installation. And that is that on that attack coming from the Biafran resistance fighters on Monday. But the reality is that their stance has actually been there. They've always clarified their stance, and they have always remained clear on what they want. Now, Alex Otti has actually said something. He has reacted to this in the news that we're going to give. Alex Otti has opened up that IPOB are not the sponsors of the attacks in Abia State. Alex Otti has accused politicians in collaboration with the external parties of being behind the recent wave of insecurity in the state. The governor's statement comes amid rising government attacks and violence in the region, which has raised concerns among residents and security officials alike. Now, let me tell you something. Alex Otti is a very intelligent guy, and I think that is why he is doing, what he's doing in Abia State. He's doing it well. He's trying. Just within a few months of assuming office, Alex Otti has been able to, do what lots of these criminal governors couldn't do. Is it Ojo Zakalu? Is it Theodore Orji? Is it the other one, the drunkard? They were, they weren't able to address, the issues happening in Abia State and Aba region. But the reality is that Alex Otti has actually done the needful, and that is why so many people are encouraging him and trying to do their best to support him. Now, I will keep on saying this thing. The issue of, forget about the Biafra resistance fighters, with their normal stance on making sure that every military checkpoint is being removed in Abia State. But the truth and the reality is that, the insecurity has always been there, and all the insecurity issues have always been politics all through. Opposition party trying to create insecurity in order to attack the present administration, just to make things worsen. I could remember during the time of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, where kidnapping was a thing in Abia State, and it later grew to a very serious thing until you know, the needful was done. These things has always been there. That is why, you know, I'll keep on talking about insecurity for those who keep saying that the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa is the one contributing to the insecurity. That is a lie. That is total babash. And that is just the reality. Insecurity has always been politicized. It's as simple as that. But meanwhile, we won't talk much on this issue. You've heard the news on News Round. Let us hear another news on News Round. And do not forget, you know, as usual, do not forget to share this video to as many groups and platforms as possible as we continue to thank those who has been supporting us with super chats, super thanks, and then super sticker. God bless you once again. Let us hear more news today on News Round.
Northerners cry in pain as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa vindicated. Here are the news in details. Wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, you are welcome to Biafra Unite channel / television this very moment. Today's date is 19th of November 2024. And I have this very all-important video for every one of you listening to my voice right now from wherever you are all over the world. Dear friends and lovers of freedom, I want you to pay very good attention to this very news because it's very, very important. I can assure you, my people, the northern elders and northern citizens, or should I say, Arewa citizens, are currently crying in pain for what is currently going on, not just in the northern part of the zoo, but in Sokoto in particular, as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister, have all been vindicated. So I will tell you how these two Biafran leaders have been vindicated, but before then, let us watch this very video in details. Don't go nowhere because we still have more in the kitchen.
The Lakurawa, they came in as a radical and violent group with quote and unquote their own Islamic teachings and also their own Islamic ideology. And the unfortunate thing is that they don't have a very good understanding of the religion. Neither do they have an understanding of what exactly they want to do. And the fact of the matter is, the locals will tell you, they preach religion, they preach their own ideology and their own teachings, but they seem not to even understand what they are actually into. And what do we see? We see people from different nationalities. They are mostly not Nigerians. They are from Niger, from Burkina Faso, from Benin, from Mali, and other parts of the Sahel. But the most interesting thing about it is that, again, they don't even understand the language of each other.
Now, the person who is speaking is from Sokoto himself. But there is something that wonders me. He said, the most interesting thing is that the people in question are not even from Nigeria. So that brings me to this very question. Where are they from? And again, he said that they do not speak one language. They don't even understand themselves. So where are they from? That is not even the question. Did they come to the zoo with a whole lot of money and purchase AK-47 from the zoo military? Pay attention, this is a very important question. Did they come to the zoo with a lot of money from all those Sahel countries and purchase AK-47 assault rifles from the zoo army? Or did they come with this AK-47 from all these countries that he mentioned, and then they cross the zoo borders and enter into the Northern Zoological Republic and start causing mayhem? Or did they arrive the zoo? After arriving the zoo, then this Fulani oligarchy that want to dip their whatever in Atlantic Ocean and then to Fulanize all of us, are they the ones that purchased this AK-47, gave it to them, and asked them to go into the villages and start terrorizing the innocent citizens? So these are the questions waiting and begging for answer from this very northern oligarchy. Let's continue.
That is very clear. And in some part of Sokoto, where they operate, in these local government areas that I'm going to mention, around Ilela, around Tangaza, Godu, B.L.A, Dinji, Silami, down to some part of KB, particularly in Kangiwa, in Augi, and as we speak today, they are in some part of Argungu local government area. I think this is a threat, and a very fundamental threat, not only to Nigerian security, but to international security, and also it is an international threat. In my own opinion, the fight against these people requires a robust and elaborate operation. We don't actually need to engage in customized security operation in these places, because they have entrenched the communities, they have gotten the acceptance on the part of the communities. And what do we see? Traditional authorities, even yesterday I was relating with some of them, they said they have no option. You've seen people with military grade weapons. You wake up in the morning, you see them at night.
Did you hear that? You see people with military grade weapons. I want you to outline that word. This man confirmed that you wake up early in the morning and see people with military grade weapons. He said it's not me. Who gave them these military grade weapons? Who gave it to them? Who gave it to them? If it's not the Zoo terrorist army, who gave it to them? I want you to follow, my people. Things are going on. Remember, Nnamdi Kanu, Ekpa have all been vindicated. I have not even spoken about that. That will come towards the end of this very broadcast. Let us continue.
You have no option other than to follow them. And that is what is actually going on in these rural areas. If you take, for instance, our local government, you find quite a number of the districts. Kwaido taken over by these people, Shafazane taken over. Most of these areas are actually under the control of this terrorist group. And they are, just like I said earlier, non-Nigerians. But the possibility of our local people supporting and joining them and accepting their ideology is actually on the increase. Because
now, this is not Boko Haram. He's not talking about Boko Haram. This is not Al-Qaeda in my grave. This is not ISIS in West Africa. This is not ISWAP. This is not Fulani bandits. This is not Miyetti Allah. Neither is it Ansaru. Or maybe the lowest one, which is what do you call this one? Hisba. We are talking about a brand new Fulani terrorist group in Sokoto State, wreaking havoc as I'm talking to you now. Let's continue.
They collect taxes, not only collect these taxes, when they impose the taxes, they collect these taxes in cash, and they will also direct you. We are in so location at so point. We want so amount to be submitted or to be given to us. And at the end of the day, you will be the one to take the money. To the extent that in Arugungu, in Augi, in some part of Kangiwa, and even part of Sokoto states, around Tangaza, around Gudu and Silami, they have established a network in which this network serve as their agents.
Did you get that? This man is mentioning the names of the areas that this new terror group has taken over, right? And the military is aware of it. The police is aware of it. In fact, I don't want to talk about that now. I will tell you something towards the end of the broadcast. Let's continue.
They impose levies on you, 10 heads of your cattle, they will say you pay 200 or 300,000. If you want to pay, we are in Jimmy, we are in Giragiri, we are in Raka, they will mention locations. And you see people submitting, collecting this money, paying to them directly. They even know where to see them. They have their agents, the motorcyclists, that actually take individuals to some of those places. So in my own opinion, it is a very serious threat beyond our imagination. And we really need a robust international collaboration. It's not just about the issue of Nigeria anymore. Rather, it is the issue of getting the support of international communities to deal with this particular threat. It is imminent, it is increasing, it is expanding, and rural communities are crying day in, day out about the activities of this group.
Let me now tell you something, my people. He's crying for international help. No international will come for your aid. No one. Because even the international is aware that your own government is the one sponsoring the terrorism. Yes, they know. So, I don't want to talk too much about what is going on in the north. I just want to remind us something. I want to start with Nnamdi Kanu, then end it with Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu told them he said it, that we are going to draw the Janjaweed in Biafra land, and they will all join their ancestors while trying to stop us here in Biafra land. He said it. Nnamdi Kanu said it. And do you know how we are drawing them? Because we have the army and they want to stop our army, which can never happen. This is how we draw them into Biafra land, and they are all joining their ancestors in our land. Do you know why Mazi Simon Ekpa has been vindicated? Do you know why? I will tell you. Mazi Simon Ekpa has been vindicated because if Mazi Simon Ekpa is not doing what he's doing today, if he did not come after the kidnap and rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which the target was to remove him in order to get to all of us, because they saw him as the stumbling block, right? They wanted to remove him for forming the Eastern Security Network back then, to fight for his freedom, to stop the Janjaweed, to stop the Fulani terrorists from dipping their whatever in Atlantic Ocean. They tried to stop him. Now, Mazi Simon Ekpa came, and he has become even worse than Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was to them. Now, it is a big problem for them. Had it been that there was no Mazi Simon Ekpa after the kidnap and rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by now, and then they use the criminals that call themselves DOS members to destabilize ESN as they just did, what would have been your fate by now? Biafrans, what would have been your fate at this very point in time? Where they have already 7 terror groups in the northern part of the zoo, yet another new one, they call them Tangawiza or whatever they call them. Another new one, brand new, fresh from yard, has just, formed in Sokoto. Now, those 7 groups, the former ones, are not enough for them. They are still forming another one. In the same Northern Zoological Republic, what will happen if you don't have Biafra Liberation Army